What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to go over Life is Strange Double Exposure's rating. And not necessarily for the rating itself. Spoiler alert, it's an M, which is not shocking, right? It lines up with the past, and it's not even what I want to talk about. It's actually the rating summary that the ESRB gave this game. Now, you might have seen this. I first was kind of tipped off to this. I saw it on Twitter. I think Reddit has kind of done some breakdowns. There's just one paragraph. I want to read it out loud for you guys, and then we'll kind of go over it. It's very interesting. It gives us specifically one scene I really want to deep dive into because I find it extremely cool. So, why does it have an M? Well, this is an adventure game in which players assume the role of a time-jumping photographer, Max Caulfield, trying to prevent a murder. From a third-person perspective, players explore locations around a college campus while interacting with characters. As players progress through the storyline, they're presented with dialogue and action choices. Some choices cause characters to engage in acts of violence, an example being a character shooting someone in the shoulder. Blood is depicted on one character's clothes and on the ground after a shooting. I think we know who that is. The game contains some suggestive material, black and white photos of female characters fully clothed, lying in a vulnerable position. Two characters playing smash or pass. Dialogue referencing blank. I'm going to keep it safe for YouTube here. During the course of the game, some characters are seen smoking. The words, certain swear words also appear in the game. Okay. Could care less about, while I don't swear, and if you notice, I don't swear in videos, I mean, that's a me thing in life. It's also like a YouTube thing, right? I don't care. I don't care about that part. I have nothing against it, all that jazz. There's really two big things that I want to focus on, right? One is the acts of violence, a character shooting someone in the shoulder, and then I guess tied into that, it is kind of separate, right? Blood is depicted on one character's clothes and on the ground after a shooting. So that has to be Safi. To me, could it be somebody else? Yes, but we already saw it, you know what I mean? I feel like that's literally because, Max comes up and she's sitting there and she falls over. So, that's got to be Safi. In terms of the acts of violence, this is what I saw on Twitter. This is actually what got me looking for, the entire paragraph. Some people think it's Max, but a character shooting someone in the shoulder, just the way that's worded, I don't want to deep dive too much into it, but, I guess let's do it anyway, right? A character shooting somebody else, basically. It doesn't sound like Max is the character being shot in the shoulder. Now, does that mean that's not going to happen? No, Max could get shot, right? But I don't know, you think about the first game when Chloe is, bouncing the bullets around everything, right? And then she ends up shooting herself. If Max gets shot in the shoulder, I guess it's not the biggest deal. It's almost like a shake it off kind of thing, and maybe you go to the hospital or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like for Max, we've seen the injury she sustains, and it's more of the, passing out and being overwhelmed and the bloody nose and all that stuff. I mean, she could get shot. I don't, again, I don't know. And I honestly don't have too many strong feelings about that. I did find that interesting that was the example, right, that they use in the ESRB rating. But what I find to be the insane part, the most insane, actually maybe the only insane part of the entire paragraph is suggestive material, black and white photos of female characters that are fully clothed, lying in vulnerable positions. That only sounds like one thing to me. Let's all guess at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The dark room. It has to be, right? It has to be. I think it's Rachel Amber. I think it's probably also Max. I think those are the two characters that, whether Max is going to have some PTSD. And here's the thing. This is why I get so freaking excited, right? Hopefully you can tell from my engagement and my voice here. In the gameplay that they already showed, when Max passes out, and we discussed, and people I think backed me up in the comments, that line when Max is talking, she's shouting, that all of this stuff is happening, that's from the first game. I think that's maybe even from episode 5 specifically, right? So I think because of whatever's going on, I want to theorize about this in separate videos, right? But she takes the picture of the moon, right? And then everything starts to happen. She starts to feel dizzy. That's maybe when Safi gets shot, or at least when things start to move in motion, you know what I mean? So something clearly happens there, but when she passes out and she is, I think, honestly, almost suffering a PTSD where it's here we go again. We're going to hear and see things of the last time that this got too overwhelming for her, right? Because literally the last time this stuff happened, she almost broke, in fact, she did. She broke everything and she had to choose and she had to fix it, right? And we've already seen her kind of relive that. Now, I guess we haven't seen it, visually. We heard it. We heard it in that gameplay. So when I see something like that, and, this is something where I don't know if I needed to see that in an ESRB rating, right? Because it almost spoils it. But I don't know any other thing that could be except for the darkroom. You know what I mean? Fully clothed. And that's something that whether they were going to push the boundaries more back in, and I'm talking don't not, I guess, right, with the first game, whether they were going to push the boundaries more, it honestly doesn't really matter. I think it worked extremely well, where it's still like a PTSD thing. You understand exactly what Rachel Amber went through. You understand what Max went through. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to get suggestive with doing things with them not having clothes and all that stuff. I think it worked extremely well for how uncomfortable and the situation they wanted to present to us, the player, what they want us to feel about Jefferson. I think they nailed it. You know what I mean? So when they say fully clothed but in suggestive positions, and it's black and white pictures they were taking pictures of, right? Like, what else could that possibly be? So I think that's absolutely a case that at some point in this game, I don't know if you would see a picture. Like, I don't know why there would be just a picture of her, or Rachel in that situation, but maybe she remembers it. She flashes back to when she was in the dark room, and maybe she looks down and she sees pictures on the floor. Something like that. Something to, I guess the situation I'm presenting, right, is something where she can get to looking at a picture. Because there literally, I guess, has to be a picture, right? So if the scene in general is her flashing back to her being in the chair, or maybe her standing there and she sees Rachel in the chair and she's seeing pictures being taken. There's her seeing the picture. There's Rachel in a, uncomfortable position. That's why the thing is in the ESRB rating. I think that has to be in the game now. So, I mean, that's incredible. Like, to me, honestly, I like it. I love it so well. Okay, I don't love that situation that they were in, right? Don't get me wrong there. But, I mean, I love that. And this is what I want. This is honestly, I think we talked about this right when the game was announced. Like, this is stuff I think you have to do because you got to respect where Max came from. And if you kind of just ignore it all, which is why I was a little defensive with, like, they're not choosing an ending. Because it's like, if everything's so open-ended, are you really going to respect who Max is or was and where she came from? These are things that make me think the answer is yes, they do respect it. Because when Max passes out and you hear, her and Chloe, whether that's Ashley Birch or not, by the way, but, you hear her and Chloe, that to me signals they know where she came from. It's important to her character that they still represent that in some way. They're going to do it. They're going to show that stuff that's going to connect to where she is now. Because that stuff, yeah, while it was maybe 10 years ago, real time or in the world, that doesn't just leave you. You know what I mean? That can come back really quickly. So I love it. I love that kind of I don't love that she's going to see pictures and be traumatized of the past, right? But I love that. I think that shows me that the past matters and that stuff is going to come back up because Max is a growing and evolving character. So I could not be more excited. I could not be more happy about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.